They can't stand to see people getting their value from within. Like, you know how many white people have asked why are like, they've literally, I've seen it in the comments, I've seen it in videos of white people saying, black people, like, how do you get your joy? Like, how are you so happy? Like, why? Like we know that we've oppressed you for all this time. How do you still stand up and smile and dance? Like, they want us, and that's not to say that they want us to, well, some of them certainly want us to, like, not be happy. But even the ones who do not actively try to make sure we're not happy, they feel like we should be unhappy. And so they ask, why are you so happy? And that's because they themselves have been trained and brought up to think that their happiness comes from external validation. Y'all, that is what it is. Because white culture, white American culture is very consumerist. It is very, you get your value from having the biggest house. You get your value from having the hottest husband and the prettiest woman. You get your value from having the most, the highest paying job. You get your value from having the highest net worth. That is literally how a lot of white Americans define their value, is if I have this external indicator that everyone else can see that says I am worthy. The higher that number on the stock ticker for them, that is the higher their value. And when that is where your value comes from, you will always look at people who are poor or people who have no money and be like, why are you smiling? And it's just like, because my value does not come from some artificial number on a board that someone else made up. Like, what? That is crazy. But another thing is, when you have the mentality of my value comes from things outside of me, you have the mentality that everyone else has that same mentality. And so so then it becomes a whole lot of projection. It becomes a whole lot of projection of, like, I would be insecure if I were in your place, so why aren't you insecure? Like, it's just like, so the projection starts, and it's like, and that makes them mad as well, because they just expect you to think like them. And it's like, absolutely not. Hustle culture is one of the external validation traps. It sure is. And that goes into, y'all, don't let me get on my history bucks. Because the Black Panthers, y'all, they were very anti-capitalism, very communist, pro everyone working.
I know we live in a racist country. I know this. I've lived on this earth for half a century, and I know we live in a racist country. But white folks literally hate to see black joy. It's amazing how we could be minding our own fucking business, and y'all mad. Y'all mad. Nobody's being hurt. No one is dying. Everyone's laughing and joyful. But as soon as you see that, it's a problem. And I bet it's because you don't think we deserve to be happy. You don't think that we deserve to have any happiness or joy in our lives, because you've been trying your best to beat us down for a long time. And we're still here. And you're wondering why we're still here, and how dare we have the audacity to be happy. I'm sitting here watching these videos and listening and reading some of the responses to the graduations, where they're dancing, and I think one school, I think it was in Baton Rouge, actually got out and started doing a line dance. The whole entire stadium, auditorium was doing the line dance. The shit was amazing to see. I worked in education for 12 years, and as a student services manager, one of the things I was responsible for doing was ensuring that the graduation happened. I was solely responsible for putting on the graduation for approximately 100 students or so every semester. And one of the things that they did not want us to do was that, what some of these videos are showing, which broke my heart, even though now and again, families would applaud louder than they should. But it's just joy. It's happiness. And I worked for a nursing college, and when I tell you those students went through it, hell yeah, I will be screaming. It's like, y'all are so fucking vanilla that anytime there's any color, you get upset. You get afraid. you get anxious because you don't know where it's going. That's what it is. Y'all afraid. Y'all literally are afraid of us. You don't know what that is or how riled up we can get. So you get scared. You're very timid. And then you think it could be towards you in some respect. It's just funny to me. And then y'all have the audacity to come mess with us when we're not even doing anything to anybody away from you. But you invite yourselves in and produce a problem so that you can feel better. How's that working out for you? I love seeing each and every last one of these graduations where they're acting a plumb fucking fool. And I say keep doing it. Make them angry. Make them angry.
And for those of you that keep looking for the 13 to 14% of the population that are Black Americans to save us from this regime, I would implore you to go look for the other 86 to 87% of the population. Ask them, what the fuck are they doing? Because if you asked me, I would blame white America for the problems that we're having now.
They hate Black joy because they don't understand it. They hate Black joy because they can't police it. European Americans very well know how they treat Black people in this country, and they also know how other people target Black people in this country. Black joy doesn't make sense to them because they are sitting around here miserable, and they don't understand how Black people are still able to have a good old time. What bothered slave owners the most back in the day was not their brutality, their beating, their mutilating, their assaulting, no. What bothered slave owners the most back then was that how can these slaves still enjoy their day? That is what bothers slave owners the most. It is written down in their diaries. They could not comprehend, well, we're hurting these people. How are they able to still enjoy life? They try to study everything about us, but Black joy, they cannot comprehend it because they don't have the capacity for it. Because they spend so much time dehumanizing other people, but the moment that you do that, you give up your own humanity. It's the devil's deal. They spend most of their childhood around racism, lowbrow comments, disrespectful jokes. Their fun is surrounded by racism. Their fun is surrounded by suffrage. Nor do they have a collective community outside of bigoted behavior. So Black joy doesn't make sense to them because they believe that since they have more in this country, that they should be the ones that's happy. And anybody who has less...
Isn't it interesting how they tell you that people who look like me, that we're the majority? They call it white privilege. They tell you that your voice, your vote, your culture doesn't matter because you've had it too good for too long, right? But here's the truth. White people only make up 8% of the global population. 8%. That means that 92% of the world is non-white. And yet, you're painted as the oppressor. You're told that you've got the privilege. I'm not asking for special treatment or special access, but don't shove this shit down my throat that somehow we're the privileged ones. The media, the school systems, the political figures, they've all been demonizing white people, especially white conservatives, for decades. And it's enough. We're done being told that we're the problem with the world when all we want is just to be left alone. We're done being told that we need to sit down. We need to shut up. We need to apologize for existing. That's not balance. That's not equity you guys were always talking about. That's gaslighting. That's the real racism. The establishment has lied to everyone.
White rage is not about visible violence, but white rage is subtle. It is corrosive. It operates through the state legislatures, through Congress, through the judiciary, through school boards. It cloaks itself in legalities. Because it's so quiet, it's so subtle, you don't see it. And so I set out to blow graphite onto that fingerprint.
So I'll see a video of a Black girl saying something incredibly racist against white people. And then there'll be a white person in the comments like, oh, so true, why are we like this? Or, oh, so true, I hate us. And then occasionally another white person will comment like, bro, you are white. Like, have some, dignity. And they'll be like, yeah, but look what our ancestors did to them. Look what we did. Look who we colonized, who we enslaved, blah, 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 blah. If my grandma was killed by a black guy, does that mean I can just hate every single black man? Every black person? No. It's like victim.
Dear Black people, you guys need to understand, you guys are hypercritical over us white people. Like, I know the past runs deep. I know. But, like, you guys are extremely critical of us now when we have not even been given one single chance, not one single chance to fix the shit that our ancestors did.
I'm sorry, what? You haven't been given one single chance telling black people to get off our necks? Like what? Take away being held accountable for the things that we benefit from through absolutely no action on our part? Like we were just handed all of this privilege and we can't be in any way responsible or accountable for it? Content like this is gaslighting at best, harmful and violent in reality. What have you done, babe? Like, in your personal spaces, what have you done that you did not physically harm a black person?
My family fought to save their farm under this flag. Who was working that farm? My family was. Who was working the farm? They were poor. Do you know how much a slave cost back then?
There's actually a knowable answer to that question.
And gang, slavery was so bad, I don't even know how the fuck we still cool white people right now.
You know, I'm probably the least qualified person to talk about this shit, but most people might look at what he said and think, oh my god, why is he mad about something that happened 200 years ago, dude? Get over it. The truth is, it's not actually about 200 years ago. It's about what never healed. Most people might look at the video that he made and say, oh my god, slavery ended almost 2 centuries ago. Why are people still angry? Here's the truth, dog, okay? Trauma does not disappear just because the calendar moves. Trauma gets passed down in families the same way eye color and height does.
Ever notice how most white people are very silent about racism? They're quiet about
the reasons white people hate black people is because we cannot tolerate black joy. We cannot tolerate black intelligence. We cannot tolerate black beauty. We cannot tolerate black confidence. We cannot tolerate black camaraderie. We cannot tolerate anything that frees a black person. We don't like black people to be educated. We don't like them to be successful. We don't want black judges. We don't want anything for black people that doesn't directly affect and entertain us.
I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
They don't get to be the leader.
All right, racists, let's talk about your distaste for black joy. Racist America fumes at the sight of happiness, especially when that person smiling is black. It's as if this country specializes in anger Olympics. Being a little too happy disturbs the patriotism. 3 or more laughs in one place is like being investigated by a mall cop. I'm gonna need to see some ID. Because deep down, they believe that pain is the only state that black indigenous people are allowed to live in. Black people start laughing too loud at their cousin's cookout. They throw on some Frankie Beverly. They start dancing with their auntie in a sundress while the ribs are sizzling. Instantly, their lives are in danger. It's like watching a perfect example of a case study on people who have a problem with control. It's like their obsession isn't just with control, it's like with the optics of it as well. They want to be seen as dominant in the space because they seem to disappear when there is black joy. When you throw your graduation cap in the air, surrounded by your entire family in matching t-shirts, they don't see achievement, they see defiance. Because in their minds, success was never black people's storyline. The truth is, black joy is a glitch in the racist lies that they feed themselves. They built a whole myth of superiority that only works if you're miserable, delusional, insecure, jealous, and mediocre. When black people shift the world with their joy and laughter, the racist's entire self-image starts to crack. This is why racists gatekeep golf courses, ban urban dress codes, side-eye loud laughter, and call the cops when the music's just a little too bassy. The unnecessary hate and determination to ruin black people's happiness is a disease, a brain-eating amoeba that siphons the cognition out of America's privileged society. And what hurts the most is that happiness and black joy is more infectious.
So I just came across a video of these black kids celebrating prom, and you know, in the video they was having fun, they was singing songs, just getting hyped. And then when I went to the comments, it was nothing but them folks talking shit, right? They were saying it was loud, it was ghetto, it was this, it was that. This just points out how, like, for some reason, Black Joy makes them folks mad. Look at every Black fatigue trend that has started, right?
What's happening? What's good? Welcome back to the final report. Now, white Americans are enraged. They are wondering, how are black people surviving? I mean, how are black Americans living their life? How are black people still being able to maneuver? How are they still like making everything possible, getting joy, getting business, not complaining, not protesting? What really happened? Tell us what really happened. Tell me in the comments. Why do you think that black Americans are always maneuvering in every situation? Because to me, it's crazy to see that a country that has more power, people who feel like the world evolve around them, they are now asking questions about how black people are surviving in America. Tell him in the comments, because it's crazy. Black Americans are now wondering because more blacks are now openly celebrating their identity, their culture, their history, and their success. And they're celebrating also the freedom of being in America, after getting the freedom. And some people are now deeply uncomfortable with this whole thing. But why are they uncomfortable? Why are they so uncomfortable about black people being happy and everything? Why would the happiness that confines why would the happiness and confidence of another community make anyone else angry? Because for many years, black people have faced discrimination, segregation, and barrier that try to limit where they could live, work, study, and even succeed in life. Yet, despite their history, black Americans continue to build, continue to create, continue to achieve, continue to find a reason to celebrate in everything, in every single thing. And now, that confidence is becoming harder to ignore. And everybody is now seeing it. Mostly the white Americans. They are seeing it. They feel uncomfortable seeing a black man celebrating, being happy, and getting joy and everything. They feel like it's okay. Like, why would they be happy? Because today you can see a black American celebrating their own culture through music, fashion, business, and mostly education and entertainment. And also, you have seen clips on media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere. There is also a growing interest in black history and in reconnecting with Africa roots, and the wider black diaspora are not saying this sort of thing. And for many people, that isn't about hating anyone else. It's about finally being comfortable with who they are, accepting who they are. But online, whenever black Americans celebrate their own achievements, you sometimes see angry. People are angry. People are so mad about this whole thing. It's crazy to see that somebody is angry because you are happy. It's crazy. And so some people are now criticizing this whole thing. They're accusing them of being divisive and simply for expression, pride and everything. That are now seeming uncomfortable when black Americans talk about independence, success, and building their own community. And that's where the conversation now gets even interesting, because happiness does not require permission. Because black Americans don't need to make another group feel smaller in order to feel proud of themselves. Don't do that here. All right? A person can acknowledge American painful history while still believing in America's future. And a person can be proud of being black without believing they are better than everyone else. All right? So maybe what is changing isn't that black Americans are suddenly becoming happier, but maybe They are simply becoming more comfortable showing the happiness publicly. Nobody will even care. Internet has given people a platform to tell their own story instead of waiting for somebody else to come here and talk about it. All right? Peace be with you. I love you. I'm out.